Hello and welcome back to the Demis Hellen channel. I hope we're all having a good day, and we're going to do some simple creation today. The creation, that is what this channel is all about, what music is all about, and to be honest, I've lost that sense of creation over the past 12 months. And if you want to ask anything, it doesn't have to be related to the video. If you just want to have a chat, let me know down in the comments. Okay, so let's get started with pigments. So if you're not familiar with pigments, there is a couple of options that we have just off the get-go with the engines. And we're going to start with the wavetable. So it's like a gentle walkthrough at the same time as just being creative. Let's just have a mooch through some of these and see what we can come up with. Let's have a listen to spec. Okay, I'm liking the sound of that. We can create some sort of mellow pad sound with this. So I'm just going to shape the envelope here a little bit. Give that a little bit more attack. And I'm going to bring the sustain up because it's a little bit jarring. Give that a longer decay. That will do. And let's get the filter movement going so we can have that. And we're going to use a function, so this is a good way to quickly show you how to attach modulation in pigments if you do already own it. I'm going to create a little curve in our downwards saw. And let me remember where this is. So rate and sync, I'm going to set this to 1/8. So we've got a nice fast looping pace. It's automatically set to loop as well. And we can map this to the cutoff just by clicking function here and then go into the parameter that we want. And we can see it lights up green. And it is now modulating our cutoff based on that speed. Another way that we can do this, if we get rid of that, is we can simply just have the function set up as we want, and then we can click the plus icon and then go to function 1 and just slide up, and you can see that'll do exactly the same. Quite a nice starting point. So let's get some chords recorded in here. So I'm just going to drag this over to my second screen so you can see. Metronome. Okay, that was a little bit off there, but it's difficult to kind of control a keyboard from behind a microphone that is plonked in front of your face. Okay, so I'm just going to go to length, quantize lengths, and that's just a really quick and easy way to get everything neatened up and put in place. Okay. I'm going to use the effects, and I'm going to set the delay to the PS delay. And what this is going to do is create some artifacts in there. It's basically like a shimmer effect. And I'm going to put this as an octave up. And then when we do the pitch shift, we can say over 24 semitones if we wanted to. So that's the full range that this will do. And if we just play this with a smidge of dry wet on, it sounds quite nice, and it just gives you that sort of shimmery room effect. It's a little bit too much in that case, so we're going to go for the 12 semitone mark. I'm going to do a high pass frequency. for 1/8 and change that to dotted. We'll keep that on straight rhythm, I think. It just adds a little bit of depth, and you don't have to have a lot in there. Works great for pads more than, say, sort of something syncopated. Once you've got that sort of flowing pad evolving, that seems to like just kind of glide over the top, and it sounds really nice. I do have some sound design with it, and we'll probably look at it in future videos. So I'm just going to add a little bit of reverb into this. In fact, we'll do global reverb. So here on the auxiliary channel, we have a global reverb. Bring the size up a bit. I pass it around 400 Hertz. Decay up a little bit. Let's see how that sounds. So going back to the synth, we have a send level. Perfect. So let's have a listen to our chords. Beautiful. Now we're going to put this through a second filter. I'm just going to leave it on multi-mode. In fact, let's put it on Jupiter. I'm going to put it onto a 12. Just to get that real sort of like soft vibe going. That's really nice. So just checking my levels here. For some reason I've turned my mixer level down, so just bear with me on the volume level. That was at -10 for some reason. There we are. It's a bit jarring with this, but that doesn't matter once we start layering other ideas into there. So first things first, let's zoom in. I'm just going to crop that in a little bit. I'm going to assign this a colour. I like to keep things colour coded to the start, so this is sort of like the pads area, and I'm going to keep that in that green colour. I'll call this pad gate 1 just in case we have any more, and then from there do a duplicate. As you can tell, this is going to be our lower pad base. Remove this, and I'm going to bring this down. And we're just going to go on to here. I'm just going to replace effects A. I'm going to put this as compressor. Capture some peaks. Some heavy compression. Helps bring the level up, and then we can bring this cutoff down. Okay, let's bring them in together. This pad bass, and I always put my basses into orange just to keep everything neat and tidy. Perfect. Okay, so let's put in here, let's load an instance of Vital. So let me know if you are enjoying this video, and it's just something that's a little bit more laid back and relaxed, and hopefully you'll see some benefit from it. You might see something in the video that you've never thought of doing before, and that's really what I'm here for. Alright, we'll use this one. We're going to use some of the basics here, so I'm just going to get rid of these. Okay, we're at 120 at the moment, so let's knock this down to 113, for example. And let's kind of look at what's controlling the white noise here, LFO 7. Okay, let's slow that down a bit more. Get rid of this. Okay, that might be a little bit too much. Let's just have a listen. I'm going to turn this volume down. Let's just drag this over to create the MIDI. Okay, so we're in triplets on this. So let's change this to tempo. Change that up to 2/1. Work, and let's have that over there. I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to get the mod wheel. Just going to open up this. That's recording as MIDI. I've got it set up for a different project there, so I'm just going to go into MIDI channels, LCC modulation, and then we can increase that over time. Let's just get rid of that. Let's add that over to nice sweeping curve into it. And then we can have it drop back in like that. Okay, I'm going to lock that and put that there. Perfect. Right, so we're going to have, we'll just call these noise hats. And this is part of my percussion, so that's going to be red, and the bass is fine where it is. And I'm going to thin this out now. So this is going to, I'm going to do everything in the synth. We might as well. I'm going to add, after these in effects A, we're not using this, so we can change this up. I'm going to put in a multi-filter. I'm going to set it to high pass. We'll leave it on a 12. Shame that we can't put that onto a 6. just want this sound to be a little bit thinner, and then that can go through there and be joined up with the bass, and that'll make a little bit more sense then. To respond, I'm using a sort of like pre-2010 hard drive still for these samples. Okay, seem to be in the dead mouse folder, so let's just look into the loops. Set these to sync with the tempo. That's got lovely lo-fi vibes. And it hasn't dragged it in at the right tempo. That means we are in a 48 kilohertz project, so that's going to sound a bit weird. Okay, so we need to go to our pool here, and we can see it's in 44, and it's just going to be a simple case of converting 48, keep, replace the new one in the pool. And there we are, we have the original. So I don't know if I want to keep the entire sample, in all honesty, so let's just have a listen to this. I want to create a bit of a mashup of samples if we can. Okay, so first things first, if we use quantize, I'm going to chop that out of that side. So for now, let's just do that. So we haven't got those. And in fact, let's just shorten that down to that. Do with the clap like that, maybe. Okay, I want that little vocal sample out of there. And I have a feeling we're going to have issues with this, being 44. It's not set to convert automatically. Okay. Proceed. Okay, so is that our little vocal sample there? And it's still not in time, which it should be. So that is our vocal sound. So I'm going to get the scissors, remove that out of there. Do a 4 sort of section here and have that twice. In fact, let's go for a bit of glitch on here. Any glitch users out there that like to use the OG glitch? Initialize, and I think 4 should be enough to cover that sequence. Get back to the beginning. It's starting in the middle, which is a little bit irritating because it's based on your project position. So let's just bring that back to the beginning and loop that section instead. And we're going to go for the reverser on that one. Needs to be heard, so probably that last bit. With the reverse, a bit slower. Okay, that'll do. That is not what I was looking for. I was just looking for a reversed effect. I could just reverse the sample, to be honest. We're going to do a tape stop on the second one. It doesn't slow enough there. Do it over one beat, maybe. Yeah, that'll do. That's where it started. That all sounds good. Let's leave that for now. All of that in context. So I'm going to copy, hopefully that is on the beats. I'm trusting that's going to be on the beats. Just for a full cycle, and we need to move our automation back. We didn't unlock the automation lane. Okay, so we're going to create a kick, 4 to the floor here, but we're going to have this slightly. Just to get that sort of like ticking effect. And with this one, I think a bit of Valhalla Supermassive is going to do us a world of good. Let's just go into reverbs, medium. Is a really nice reverse effect. We could actually use that as, say, a swell at that point. Let's just try. Okay, I just want to give it a little bit of ambience, just a little bit there, just to get a vibe from it. We don't have to go into the technicals, obviously. With that, let's jump into a trance pack and let's go to Dave Parkinson. We're just going to mix up some samples here. Let's see if we can pull anything out of the drum loops here. Go for a breakbeat. let's hit that and go. All right, so we like 92 already. That just fits with the aim and break. That works. Okay, we'll take this one. That is this sort of vibe I was going for. We don't want audio connections, or we want the media pool. Go for the convert. Okay, replace. Done. Not quite. Now we have to resize it to fit. Perfect. So whether I want the snare from this one, I'm not too sure. Let's just snip those out. Go by quantize. There we are. I think that's going to sound a little bit jarring, but we can pick out the snare. That's it. Ooh, that works. With just that random snare on the end. Okay, so what I tend to do here is you would do crossfades. I'm just going to bring little volume cuts in here. There are other ways to do this. We can do it by using this here. So if, for example, if we just, I'll show you this little trick that you might not know. If we zoom into this sample, we can have this selected, and let's just say we turn quantization off with our scissors. And let's just zoom in at this point where we want to cut. It will find a 0 point, and you can see it's snapping randomly as I'm moving, and that is picking a 0 point on the crossfade. So it's actually picking a section where you're not going to get any clicks or pops. So with that said, back out. We're going to put this back on, scissors, chop that out, chop that out, and that. So we're removing that, and leaving that snare on the end. And I'm just going to create little crossfades just to stop any sort of like pops and clicks that we might have. Okay, so we have that done. And then from there, let's go back into here and go back into Loop Masters, Dead Mouse, and we'll go for layered. Wherever that one was, there. That sounded okay as our first clap. Let's just bring these levels up with the there. We cut that out too early. Okay, so let's just cut those out for now. Why didn't you tell me that I was cutting the wrong section? Go for a snare, and we're going to go for a layered snare. Let's let's just try that nearly. Well, it's the first one in the list. It's been reversed, this list. Let's just try that on there. Let's bring the level down a bit. All right, we have our second layer on there, and then I'm going to pick a big snare, and we're going to jump out of the house samples and go into dubstep. I've only got one dubstep pack. Snares. Rearrange these so we have them in ascending order. Right, that could give us our body on that one. And then there was one with like a bit of a tape stop effect on it. That one. We'll drag that in just there for a second. Bring those down, bring the level right down and mix that in. Let's just region. I'm just going to bring that down just a smidge on that one. Do we want this one? So we're just going to go into the media hub because I forgot these are all important at a different resolution. So can we select 3 at a time, 4, 5 at a time? Convert files, 48, replace all. Perfect. Alright, so we have ourselves a beat. So we can sum these up. We can add a group track here and we can call this drums. So now we have this group track. And just for the purpose of this, I'll just show you from these toms. We're going to set those like that. So instead of going to stereo out, it's going to group drums. You can select these all. You can select all of these and put them all in at the same time if you so wish to do so. There we are. So now everything's going into one bus. And I need to turn the headphones back up. So let's get the levels set right first. For now, I'm just going to throw on some compression just to get things gelled together a little bit nice. I'm just going to use the VSC2. Attack, quick release, and we want to do makeup ourselves. I'm going to go really sort of like in the 2 area, -2 in the reduction. So that will do, just to keep everything nice and neat and tidy there. And before we carry on, I'm just going to put our scopes on here. So we can see the position of how everything is moving. Let's pick our kick drum. ways that we can neaten this up. I'm just going to show you the quick way here is just create that cut and change this into side, and then anything sort of like below this point is going to be in mono. So let's just go up to the sort of like 200 Hertz mark. So you can just about hear there all of the side detail that's coming through there. I'm just removing that, chopping it out so the kick is essentially fully in mono. Obviously that is part of a loop, so there's a few other little bits and bobs in there because I would just set the whole sample to mono. So that will do for now. I'll move that over as we are really only focused on the creativity part. So there we are, we've built up a drum section. I'm going to create a group folder and we'll call it drums. Drag that to there, and then everything here can be going in that folder and we can pack it away neatly. Right, so I'm going to bring the level of the drums down on the bus a little bit, and then we can create some more volume on here. Save. You might see up in the corner here I'm constantly clicking save to make sure I don't lose anything in the eventual crashing that will happen as this machine gets older. It's very rare that it crashes, but with its age it's starting to show signs of weakness here and there. Right, so that's that section done. Let's go on to making a little bit of an arpeggio, and we're going to use the same loop, and I think we may as well just add another instance of pigments. And I'll show you some of the interesting features of the arpeggio / sequencer. Okay, so I'm going to bring that down to pigments here. Bring the overall level down. And what we can do is go to My Banks, User, I think it's this one. It's a little bit slow for rising. That could be an interesting one. It's a bit glassy, but let's give it a shot. So I'm going to turn on this and select it as an arpeggiator. And I'm just going to transpose the melody up 1 octave. You can see the usual. We have a rate and swing on this side and the option to switch between these, and a couple of extra options there, as well as like arpeggiator, velocity, slide, gate length, all that sort of good stuff. But the interesting thing about this is we can set these to work at different speeds depending on what we're trying to create. So for example, we can create randomization on the velocity here. You can see now it's randomizing that velocity. We can set this to work over a couple of octaves, so let's just choose random. What makes this more interesting is we can set these divisions. So if we set this to divide by 2, You can see now it's operating half the speed of the rest of the sequence. And that creates some interesting probabilities. So if we increase the gate length to random 45 and set this to a third of the speed, I'm going to bring that probability down to about 15%. And that's just set to up mode at the moment, and we'll keep it on that because that sounds quite nice. So let's put that in with the rest of our sound. I'm just going to bring its level down a little bit more. Let's just blend these together. More interesting sequence as opposed to just having it just running up a standard upwards modes arpeggiator. So if we bring that in there, let's just say after that amount we have that, so. Sequence. So again, should we go for pigments, or let's think what can we have? Okay, so I've decided to use a Bossendorf piano from the East-West play as our main thing, but we're going to make it sound a little bit more ambient rather than just straight up piano. So let's wait for this to load in. Because I'm sat in front of the computer, I don't actually have my sustain pedal on this keyboard. So for now, I'm just going to increase the release just to get the general idea. Beautiful. Right, let me just turn my headphones up. So let's take a look at the original piano piece. So we've got a G, B flat and a D. And okay, then we've got a straightforward left hand position. We have a piece that is going to sound lovely, so I'm just going to crudely record this in. I'm no pianist by any long form. Let's just hit record on there. That was an accidental chord, but that did sound quite nice, just having that accidental there. I want to keep the sort of natural aspect as well. These may sound a little bit odd, so I'll just judder them all along a little bit, I think. In fact, I'll just do that now. We'll line it up with that one. So I want to keep the individual velocities. I want to keep the individual like note positions as well, so they're not all just hitting at the same time. Just gives it a more natural feel. Okay, let's just give that a shot in a loop with our pad. And you can see here in our second part, we don't just do here we are. Let's just drag these back here so they're at least they're fitting sort of thing. That's going to be on the beat now, but that's fine. That's fine. So we just got this repetition of chords, but then here we change it up. So I'm just going to take these out of here. I did paste them. There they are. In fact, let's just me being lazy. So the first chord is identical. And then the second one, we have an F in the bass. Then we have an A and a B flat and a D. So copy that over. We have the F sharp in the bass. Was it the F sharp? I'm already losing my marbles. Nope, it's just an F. Bring that down to an F. And then here we had the A, the B flat, and the D. Beautiful. That sounds really nice in those ambient sort of like sounds that we've already made. And then I think we went up to the G. No, we didn't. We went down to the D. Ah, yes. Here. So we went down to here with that chord. I think we kept D in the upper portion. We did. We just kept that rolling all the way through. Let's just hit that like that. So let's try that. Beautiful. Then on the top, bit of a bum note there. Let's just come up with some simple magic. That in there, I think. Try that. Neat. We just need to come up with a little something for that part, so let's hit record again. It's on the C. Okay, so that works. We haven't got MIDI clip blending on, so let's just merge all that together now. Should be having an E natural then, not an E flat. Yeah, we'll stick with that. Okay, I think that, in fact, that G can stay there, but we'll have it super quiet. Very similar to the D there. Keep that sort of the same. Bring that down a bit. Seems to have edited everything. Just having a little trouble with the beautiful MIDI of Cubase. There we are. There. Okay, so we've got the first idea there. I'm not going to have the melody in the same piano sound. That's just to get the idea flowing. So on this second iteration, I'm going to remove the melody. I'm just going to open these chords up a little bit, I think. Okay, so what I'm looking for in this really is some deep tones. So I'm going to bring in these bass notes into the same location. Let's just hit D0 there, E flat 0, should we say. Okay, so realistically, if I was to play that like that, and then to be able to hit D0 as well is absolutely ridiculously impossible. So instead of having this top D sharp here, I'm going to remove that, so then that enables me to be able to play sort of loosely that sound, which means we're going to have to ditch these middle notes here of those bass parts. Get rid of the top G, like that. So we've got the two-handed position at those 2 octaves, and then we've got the right hand up here. Because realistically, that's near enough a full stretch of my hand, and to be able to hit the G sharp above that, or say the A flat, should we say, is just impossible, and I've got very big hands. That's more intimate to me now. It was a little bit clustered before. I'm just going to bring these levels down. Getting some overspill from that other MIDI clip there. Yeah, we were. Okay, so we're not going to look at the technicalities of how the piano needs to be EQ'd. I'm just going to roll some of the low end off and brighten it up a little bit there, just for now. And then we're going to put its own reverb on there, so I'm going to choose Valhalla Room. Bring this mix down. Sounding beautiful already. Just want the bass frequencies to kind of roll off pretty quickly. Let's just switch them around for now, so we're using that EQ to clean up the low. To a 6, just so it smoothly rolls that off. That sounds beautiful. Okay, so we'll keep that over there as a reference point, and we can put that back there. Obviously we can copy our first bass over. I'm going to have to change the bass up here. Create 2 clips there. We know that is finishing on D, and that does go to G still, I think. No, this goes to the F. See, I can't even remember my own melody here. Right, let's try that again. That is definitely going to have some low end chopped out there. That's going to be a very distant arpeggiated melody for that, because now this is sounding lovely, mellow and soft. Okay, that's the first part out of the way. Let's look at putting some vocals in there. So I'm going to open up my vocal folder and let's have a look. Let's look at Corey Freisenhan. In fact, let's go to his vocal atmosphere pack, and we can choose atmospheres, harmonies, etc. And for those that are still not clued up on how to set this up so you know what key you're operating in, or see if you've chosen the right notes within your key, hit scales and chords, and you can see it's going to change to light blue and red in my case. It might be different on your colour settings. scale assistant is going to determine what is here. So we can determine the sort of root note of the key, which is this E flat. So if we went to the E and went minor, you can see that's not the case. And if you're not really clued up at all on it, you can use scalesandchords.com to show you which notes they are. And you could just simply go through and choose these and find out which is which and what is what. And if you want to know what this is in, if we just go here, G, and it's already in minor, we're in G minor. We've just got a different starting position, but we're still in G minor, as you can see. And that way we can see exactly the keys that we need to hit if you're not fully musically adapted to reading theory and understanding all that other jargon. Seem to have a red note down here. It's obviously not updated, or we do have a very minute key press somewhere. Ah, it's gone. That's fine. Good old Cubase errors. Okay, so going back to our textures, now we know that we're in G minor, we can go for, let's say, huge texture. And we can see that these are already in keys, and they've only got G major, then got G minor. We could use a relative minor to that, but I'd rather just use something that's already just in the key. So let's have a look down here, G minor. We've got 4 of these to choose from. If we could pick the starting point over here, that'd be lovely. That's quite a nice starting one. That's more angelic. That's too harsh. We want this one. If you're unsure, you can preview that with the track, but let's just have a listen to that overlaid with that. And again, we're going to have to go. I'll set this up again next time, guys, so this is actually working as it should. We're going to set this to convert. One day I'll get it right. That bit out. Listen to here. It's okay. I'm not looking for that though, so we can crossfade these over. That's no problem. Duplicate, and let's just make a little bit of a crossfade there, like so. We can even use different ones if we wanted to. We could go into single notes and swells. I'm going to pick the G minor 1 here. I'm going to drop that in. And again, really sorry guys, I'm going to have to jump in and convert this one again. Let's proceed, and we're done. The only thing we'd have to do here is do some EQ on this. It's not going to affect the other ones because they're already pretty void of any low end. Just let me swap this over. I've done it on the wrong one. In this list, there we are. You can see there's a lot of low end removed out of these sections. When it comes to here, this is more obvious. this onto a different track and then you're not actually affecting how this sounds. So we can just duplicate that. Delete that one, and then we can remove our EQ from that one. So that's quite nice. I'm going to cut that off at that point, create a crossfade, and we'll use this again. Final stage. Like so. So we're not creating perfect loops out of these. You can see I'm just creating this to fit with this particular section, but it's just really about the creativity and getting that flowing. And they work now. I always set my voices to the pink colour. And this really adds a sense of depth. Now we've got a little bit of dynamic range in terms of how filled the track sounds, but how there's depth into it as well, just by adding slightly different setbacks in the sound. So we've got some really upfront stuff that sounds sort of wide on its own, but then we've got this really atmospheric section that's really pushing out into the sides. And that helps you to tell the two apart, giving you a central core part and a very wide, out in the open and spacious section, which adds depth into your track. And I just love how this is coming together. This is beautiful. All right, so we've got all that. I'm just going to drop this melody in here. I don't know if it's actually going to work, to be honest. We may go through another iteration in a secondary video, because we're going to do a couple of these on the same track and hopefully just get it finished, and then we can do something else. All right, so let's go into Vital. I'm just thinking of a sine wave sound that I created for a trans pack. That might work very nicely in this. If we go down to, I think it's trans leads. No, it's in my trans Vital bank, and it's a pluck. So if we just do that by style. Should know the name of it, to be honest, but I don't. FC tomorrow, of course I do. There we are. So now, that is a very nice sound. So let's bring this melody back in. So I'll get rid of all this junk that's in there. Bring that up to there, recolor it. Thing we're going to notice is we don't have velocity sensitivity on this because it wasn't intended to be an ambient sound. So we can simply do this, just do velocity tracking here. There is a little bit there, but I'm going to go a little bit more. Let's just look how this has been designed. Macro 1. Okay, so I'm going to remove the macros for now. And I'm going to use velocity independently on each one, based on its level. So we can see that was more of the 11 o'clock position. This one's more of the 2 o'clock position. And that is 2 o'clock as well. There. So now you can see the different levels of velocity depending on how hard I hit that. Right, perfect. I'm just going to dip into Pro Q3. Resize that. There we go. Just to control some of that low end out of there, and we can just bring the level up of this now. Invite itself. Okay, we're already maxing out there, so let's give this a little bit of a... So it's going down to 0 at the moment. I'm going to give it a floor level. Everything is just not going too quiet. Beautiful. So that's probably going to get lost in the rest of this. Just a little. Jarring that cutting off there. I'm just going to use... This is the first thing that just came to my mind. I'm just going to use this to boost the volume for now, just to get it in the mix. Not really bothered about how it actually works, just really to give it a bit of a volume boost. Yeah, that's sitting quite nicely. There's a little bit too much low end, so... going to turn that into a 12 again. That's beautiful for the break. Now we need to overlap these, so I'm going to put that onto the second lane. Bring that over like so, and then we've got a nice loop happening every time. If we just do the same there, it'll loop perfectly every time. Open up our drums. Let's just say this ambient bit. What was these like again? I'm going to change that up. I don't think we're going to keep that. Okay, so we haven't really got any sort of hats as such yet, so we could introduce some classics. So let's introduce some actual classic hats. I think this will be in house, and Vengeance 1, loops, and then real hi-hats. Okay, let's try that. These are a little bit nostalgic. These are sort of the OG hats that you can get out there. And this one, is this one in it? Real hi-hats. Convert, because I haven't set my project up correctly. There we are. And let's just turn that down a little bit. Where are we? Gelling together very nicely, and we're going to leave it at that point for this episode. We will come back to this in a second one, and it should just be probably just before or just after Christmas. So you'll get to see it anyway and see what we can come up as a final bit. So if you do enjoy the video, let me know, and I'll be going through the comments to see what you guys have to say, and let me know if you like the track. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one.